G'day everyone, welcome to Life on the Hulls, and last week we installed our two Yanmar 4JH57 shaft drive engines, and that was a pretty exciting milestone for us, and to see them sitting in those engine bays was just something absolutely phenomenal for us. This week I'm going to be really starting to get into the nitty gritty. On the next few episodes are going to be all about that detail work that needs to be done prior to us demoulding the deck and actually having it positioned over the top of all of this structure. For now, I'm going to basically start to work on the alignment. Now, the alignment isn't going to be dead accurate until I install the shaft logs or the shaft tubes with the cutlass bearings, but that's where I'm going to kick off this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to make a comment. Really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll get straight into it. Okay, I got my jig out, and I'm going to confirm this with a laser in a moment, but I've worked out my point of exit here with the shaft is right where that black dot is there. That has to go through, there's a 30mm foam core bulkhead there with 3 layers of glass on each side, and then another 30mm glass bulkhead here at the stern of the boat, and then about a centimetre of solid glass. So that's the deadwood of the boat. Now this is going to have a larger hatch put in here for access into this deadwood. Not that I'm going to need it, but it'll be good to be able to get in there and check for any leakage or anything. But the stern tube is going to pass from here all the way through to about here, and that's looking pretty accurate. Okay, I'm down under the hull, obviously. This is my stern skeg where the prop shaft's going to come out, and this is the hole I originally found with the alignment tool that I've made, and I think it's dead accurate. In fact, given the 1 degree angle change, this is the original plan when this had a 190 horsepower motor in it. It also was around about 2 centimeters higher. The engine coupling for the shaft was 2 centimeters higher, so at 220 from the top of the skeg, or from the hull down to here. This is now at 200, which would indicate that that is in fact dead accurate. So if we drill a hole through there, and this is going to pass through here, through this, so this is a deadwood here, there's a second deadwood there, there'll be an area there where the stern tube is accessible through the hatch in the top. This is around about 40mm thick, and then we have another 30mm thick here of this deadwood. If I drill this and then drill the other one, I should be able to see the shaft, and then I can run a piano wire through there with a laser on it and a digital gradient tool or a digital level to work out the exact point of exit. Go back to this diagram here. Now this indicates that there is a fairing on the rear. This obviously is vertical, which is this face here. Now we don't want that. That obviously there's going to be a lot of turbulence created here, and we want to try to fair this back into a nice shape to guarantee that the water that comes off here doesn't sort of get all disturbed here before it hits the prop. We want to try to funnel the water back in a constant stream back onto the prop shaft, and obviously that's where it works best. So when I go back to this diagram here, we can see this fairing, which will be probably 3 or 4 layers of 30mm foam glued on and then shaped back to the to a fairing that looks a bit like this picture in the diagram here of the original one that was built. I went up the back there where all my molds and templates and everything are, and I found this guy, and this is an actual splash, or what we call a splash, which is a quick mold off the original that shows you exactly what we're aiming for. Now this is in the wrong position. This will need to be 2 centimeters higher on this one. So what I'll be doing is I'll be working out exactly where this fits to get the shape of it, and it looks like I need to come 300 back to the vertical from the end of the skeg, which is around about here. Probably fits probably about where it is, and then I'll add my foam onto the stern of the boat, sand back this, and be able to fair that back in once I shape it, and then pass the shaft log all the way through, which will end here. Obviously my cutlass bearing here, my folding propellers here, and then the rudder out here somewhere, making sure that my folding props can actually fold, and the rudder back here about where my face is, probably a little bit further back. But yeah, that's interesting to have that, and it's sort of giving you a bit of a picture as to what this will look like on the stern when it's complete. But for now, that's a long way off. Actually, I can start working on that pretty soon, but more importantly, let's get to the insides. While I'm down here, I'll go the other side, and we'll do this side at the same time. Now, because I'm so eager to get this shaft aligned, I reckon I've pretty much got it here. But what I've also done is I've used a carbon paddle shaft because I don't have my shafts, and I've gone with a 32mm carbon shaft here, which is going to be about the same size as my actual drive shaft. It's going to be running through here, through the deadwood, and out the back here. And I've aligned this jig that I made here, as well as used the laser a bit earlier on to establish the correct exit point for this shaft. And I'll just show you something. I've actually got, I don't know if you can see it, I've got 7 degrees of angle, and also that the motor is at, well, 0.1, but that varies with the way the wind's blowing, but it's essentially totally level, perfectly level. And then obviously this shaft coupling on the back here is angled at 7 degrees, and then I put my straight edge on it, and I've got 0.1 at the moment. 7.2 is going between 0.1 and 0.2, so that's giving me the exact alignment required. And then I've got a dead straight carbon shaft here, which is actually an old paddle that I had, and it is dead straight. I've then lined it up exactly on this jig, gone through, drilled a hole in the deadwood, and this will show you how accurate I was when I originally put these motors in. I don't know if you can see down there, but it's hard to see. We've got the shaft down in there, and we have the hole that I drilled through the back. It's exactly in line, so I'm going to be able to drill that through and check my alignment all the way through. I'm so wrapped, so I'm going to go outside with a hole saw and drill a hole in the back of my stern. Have you ever seen a man poop himself? I'm about to. I've got a tiny little hole here. I'm about to drill the shaft exit point, and it's got to be at around 7 degrees, so I'll just have to aim it upwards. I can't quite get it exactly right. I'm only drilling a 40mm hole. The actual hole is going to be 50, but I figure I can actually clean it out with a sander, or I don't really know how I'm going to clean that out yet. No, that'll be okay. I'll be able to clean it out with some sort of a sander, a drum sander, and just ovalize it enough just to put that shaft tube in. But for now, I know that the alignment is absolutely smack on. I can see it in there. Here we go. Wish me luck. Oh, yuck.
how thick the stern of my boat is. It's like probably 15 millimeters of solid glass. Shit. Look there, you can see the engine. Alright, here's my fake shaft. Yep, that's perfect.
Alright, that's done. Hole through. And bit scary. That was the scariest moment I think I've had. But yeah, you can see there, perfect. My alignment's spot on. And this basically is at exactly 7 degrees. Yes. Yep, perfect. All right, well I can get rid of that one and go and do the other side. Now that was a pretty hairy moment. Going in onto the port side here, and we're gonna burrow the hole through here with the hole saw and finish this job. Alright, with that shaft drilled, I'm able now to cover these up and forget about it for a little while. Done. Good night. Night time. So I've been trying for half an hour to do an intro for this week's video, and they keep interrupting me, so I'm going to interrupt them with the noise of my oscillating tool. Stuff them. I don't care. Listen to them. They're in the background trying to interrupt me and try to ruin my video. But we're going to go down into the forward head in the starboard side. Now this is a wet head, and I'm going to basically cut out the floor. Now this is an absolute mess in here. It's going to need a lot of polishing, but this section here, right here, needs to be cut out. This here is a shower bilge, and obviously any water that goes from the shower will flow into that and then be pumped out with a bilge pump with a float switch. But this section here allows me access to the through holes that are going to be below it. So I'm going to cut that out with an oscillating tool now, and just reveal what's underneath there. And the best part about it is that that side there where I have a through hole is actually solid glass. It isn't foam core, because I had to remove the foam core off this, remember, to fit this module in. Now, to the uninitiated, it may well appear that I jump from one little job to another in any given video, but the reality is that some jobs just can't be completed in one sitting. I'll often flit around and do what comes to hand with the end goal in sight. In this case, the port head has many considerable minor projects rolled into one. This has been up and down, and the Blackwater hatch needs to have access hatches cut into the floor. I need to install 3 bulkheads to the hull side structure in the vanity cabinet, and access hatches cut into the module itself to access the plumbing and pump systems that will drive the head operation and the Blackwater system. Righto, it is time to cut the access hatch in my port head, and you'll see, ooh, there's a head in there. Okay, so my job this arvo, and it's getting pretty dark because it's a wild day today. We've got major wind here. Got the head here, obviously, sink, and this hatch section here
with the circle is exactly where my Blackwater tank hatch is. Now, in the original design, the Blackwater tank was a lot smaller than this one. Now, this is an integrated black and grey water tank, 110 litres, so reasonably good storage, but you know, I couldn't go any bigger because I'm essentially up under the floor there, but I do need to be able to remove the complete hatch. If I couldn't get that out, the problem is it has a 2.5 to 3 foot long intake and uptake pipe inside it that I'm going to need access to, and I want to be able to lift that lid right out and get into the actual tank proper to be able to give an effective clean out. So I'm going to cut out this hatch square and put a square floor in here. Now, it's a matter of conjecture as to whether I have this entire floor section as a cutout or just the small hatch. So for now, I'm going to cut out the hatch, and if I can get it out, I'm inclined to just go for a small hatch in the new floor that I put down, or I may end up cutting this whole section out and having a completely removable floor so that I can get to the fuel tank, which is on the other side of the bulkhead, right about where that dunny is.
All that beautiful workmanship, gluing it all together, and I'm hacking into it, but it was always going to happen. But yeah, the problem is I've got to drill or cut right over the top of this bulkhead. I really don't have a choice. You can see it under there. It's yeah, a bit of a bugger that. But anyway, it's got to come out because it's the only way I can get the toilet hatch or the Blackwater hatch out of this bathroom floor. Just part and parcel building boats. This is good access is the key. Oh, this has been blasted. Oh, I've got like 6 layers of foaming. Oh, that was a bloody effort. It's taken me about an hour and a half to cut that out. And the reason why, take the bloody mask off.
Oh, the reason why is that I have floor, and a riser because I rose the floor up by 30 mil back, way back when. You can see it here, it's like probably 60 mil, probably at least 60 mil thick there. But the issue I've got is that I'm going to have in here, there's a pickup tube that is going to be 60 centimeters long. Now this is a short one. This is the short one that goes with this tank, but my tank is so deep. It's also about 80 centimeters deep down in there, and this is not going to cut it. I need it about this long, so I needed to be able to pull this out, get in there, flush it out with water and clean it out invariably, or every now and then,
So this is going to be extended out to about this long. Now the problem with that is if I put that in the hole there, I've got to make sure that I can then get that in. And it's in there now. Yeah, yes. So that'll work. That will work. So obviously I've got to undo these before I can do it. And now I have total access to all of my pipes and tubes, and I can obviously move these around, but there's going to be one here and another one here, so there'll be 2 pickup tubes in there, one for another one for obviously just standard evacuation out of the tank, because this is not a gravity system. As much as I would have loved to have had gravity tanks, I simply couldn't in this boat. There isn't enough room in these modules to have a gravity fed tank. Could possibly have secreted one in behind the sink here, but it just wouldn't have been the capacity you need, and I need this obviously. So everything's basically going straight in there. Everything, including the sink. Now I'm going to have diverter valves and 3-way valves and everything here, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to have to tidy that up tomorrow. That's going to take a little bit of tidying up, but at least I know it's going to work. I'm not convinced though. So both of these are, one's a pickup and one's an inlet, and the other one's clearly just sink water or something. So actually one's a breather. Absolute bastard that. I thought I'd do that in about 5 minutes. An hour and a half it's taking me. The problem is it's a 20mm foam and there's 4 layers of glass on each side of these floors. 300, 600, 300, 600. I made the floors pretty much heavy duty. I'm going to come to regret that as I cut all the access hatches out. But that one there, sadly, I couldn't get up straight over the top of it, obviously, because there's that bridge there from the shower with the damage that I've already started to repair. Yeah, got a lot to think about here. The good thing is I'm actually at the point now where this module's almost ready to go in. A couple of things I need to do. I need to put a bulkhead down there that this module can be glassed to, and in here an access hatch for the Y valve, the 3-way valve that I'm going to put in there, so I can divert the toilet and the sink. Obviously I want to be able to divert that macerator straight away. There's also an access hatch to be put there in the shower, and in there is my water pumps and my macerator for the black water tank. So there's a lot of things to think about here, and what I'm going to do is go home because I'm absolutely wrecked, and I'll come back tomorrow and I'm going to glass in the bulkhead behind here and the one. So I have a tiny little bulkhead down in there. You probably can't see it. I'll get in there tomorrow with the camera, with a light. There's a tiny bulkhead there, and I sort of need that there so that I can build some shelving. So I can build some shelving along here inside the sink cupboard or in the vanity there. And there's also a 3-way valve there, and I'll probably try to explain that. And then there's another bulkhead, this one here, which goes in there, and that also is tabbed and glassed to the module. So these modules, once they're in, they're never coming out, and essentially they form not so much a structure of the boat. In fact, this boat as it stands is designed to be monocoque, or one structure without all these modules in it. They will certainly add structure, but you can imagine behind here I'm going to have 2 shelves underneath the sink, and also access into the diverter valve and the breather and everything else that's going to be coming up that wall up behind the sink there. So there's plenty to happen. And then there's another bulkhead that comes in here that actually forms the robe for this stern cabin that I'm in.